Swicky-diddle-dum. Swicky-diddle-dee was the highly interesting song that he sung.
What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Hooray, and up she rises. Hooray, and up she rises. Hooray, and up she rises. Early in the morning.
Hey everybody, in our last report we were in Kingston. We ended up staying there for 2.5 days, which is a day longer than we anticipated just because there was high winds and we didn't want to go out and risk running to Gananoque and when it was too windy and choppy out, so we hung out for an extra day. Finally left Kingston sort of on a cloudy, rainy day. It was rough when we left, but it calmed down as we got closer to Gan. We got into the marina there, took showers to walk around the town, had dinner at an English pub. We also took the opportunity to call ahead to Clayton and make reservations for a couple of nights there. The next day we had a bit of a tough time getting out of Gananoque Marina just because of the wind. It kept blowing us back into our slip. And we were finally able to extricate ourselves and head on over to Clayton. It was still pretty windy and rough. But we got into Clayton Marina, and you can see by the video we hear the boats bouncing around. And depending on the wind direction, it was either getting driven toward the dock or away from the dock, but it was pretty bouncy all night. We didn't sleep very well. While we were in Clayton, we met some friends, went out for dinner and drinks. We went to the Wood Boat Brewery, which was a particularly nice place. Not fancy, but the food was good. The next day we left Clayton, took off for Cedar Island. It was an anchorage. It was on the east of Alexandria Bay. And here you see us approaching and going under the Thousand Island Bridge. A couple of the popular landmarks along this side of this section of the river are Bolt Castle and Singer Castle, and here you see both of those. Actually, our anchorage off of one end of Cedar Island was straight across from Singer Castle. And our friends Steve and Cindy came and picked us up the following day, took us for a pontoon boat ride to their cottage. We ran into our first real emergency when we ran out of coffee. So we took a dinghy ride to shore to try to find a store and buy some coffee. But turns out the store closed about 15 minutes before we got there, so we ended up with no coffee. But we did grill a couple of steaks and some veggies. we survived. It rained that night. This is shot the next morning when you see a tall ship going by on the river. Started out kind of cloudy and misty in the morning, but it cleared up quite nice for our trip to Brockville. We got to Brockville. We walked the waterfront, and neither of us had been to the village before, the city before. We took a walk around and explored. And of course, we ended up at the pub and grill. We just missed a special weekend with tall ships in town. I'm not sure how many they had, but I would say at least half a dozen or so. There was still 2 left when we got here. And the next day we took another walk around town. Ended up at the railway tunnel, which is a restored and enhanced railway tunnel with a light show and music and everything else. We had no idea what it was when we went to take a tour of it, but it was pretty cool. So go walk around, looked at all the historic buildings around town. Also went to the Brockville Museum. And we spent another night in Brockville. Winds came up the next day, so we decided to stay in town for yet another night. And we've got plans to take another walk around today and see some more things. And then tomorrow we're planning to head to Peck's Marine, which is in Ivy Lee or Lansdowne. And from there begin the last leg of our trip, heading home.